glory. We the Ambazonians pledge our loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who brought the lonely gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Revolutionary greetings, my fellow Ambazonians. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may find yourself today. To our captives in jail, don't blink. To our nationalists scattered all over the world, whatever country you find yourself in as an Ambazonian nationalist, don't blink. To our refugees in the refugees camps, internally displaced, and in foreign lands, my fellow comrades, don't blink. And to the best of us, those whose sacrifices are unquantifiable, those who our nation and future generations owe a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. To our liberation fighters, manning the land, protecting mountains and valleys, towns and villages, oceans and rivers. To you, the best of us, don't blink. My fellow Ambazonians, I came to you today to have a conversation, a clear conversation about our revolution, our formula for victory, the deeds of the heroes, the deeds of the terrorist occupiers, our obligation to ourselves, our families, and our nation, and those of us in jail. It was a funny week as my brother Spence, the leader of this our liberation struggle, spends more than the 6 months in jail. I had communication that the Norwegians wanted to interview me, their police, as a potential witness concerning the case of our leader. I have no obligation to say this and talk to you about this. But lest the Norwegians believe that my absolute refusal and contempt to speak to them stem from somewhere else that might include fear or cowardice or that. I want to say this publicly so that I disabuse them of that idea. My refusal to speak to them is plain and simple. I don't speak to people who create a crime scene and are spending their time now looking for evidence to plant on that crime scene. I do not and will not, out of my own free volition, speak to genocide enablers or sit across the table from people who expose the Ambazonian people to death and mayhem. The Norwegians have a track record of coziness with genocides like Hitler, Nazi Germany. They have first-hand knowledge with using biological warfare in order to wipe out people they do not consider at the same level as they consider themselves. The eugenics they used on their own people. Their action in removing the impediments that we put in place to check the genocide of La République du Cameroun. And one of those colossal impediments being the leader of our revolution, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, tells us that they are just reverting back to their horrific genocidal tendencies that their history has shown them to possess. I will not, out of my own free volition, grant these people anything other than the contempt and disgust that they merit. That is why I don't want to see them. Not near me, not near my door, not even on the phone. I don't want to see them. And so, my fellow Ambazonians, we struggle. We understand the implication of my opening statement that I just made on the case of a leader who has been unjustifiably incarcerated without charge. The implication of that is that, my fellow Ambazonians, there is no white knight coming to save us. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the never again generation. We are that generation who put our hands in the air and said as if it depended on me alone. So help me God. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. That we are our brothers' keepers, we are our sisters' keepers, and the fundamental basis on which our struggle has been built and survived to this point has been that we are our own savior. Because, my fellow Ambazonians, there has not been and has never been a savior for Ambazonia except ourselves. While we might have friends coming on board, while we might have openings, the most important takeaway for Ambazonians is that our people need you. The liberation struggle needs you. Our fighters on the ground need you, because that is the fundamental tool that we have that today stands manning the defenses in our land. My fellow Ambazonians, look. They went on the rampage in La République du Cameroun, murdering our people living amongst them. You saw them in Pinyin the other day, murdering our people in the continuous genocide that has been going on. You have seen the videos out of Ndonga Mantung where they went on the rampage burning villages. And you saw this poor blind man who have been burned out of his home. In my briefings, you would get a lot more of this. But my fellow Ambazonians, I say this in the context to be very, very clear to you that the war is now. The war is at our doorsteps. The genocide is there. And we don't have 1 minute to breathe, to take a breath, or to lose focus. We don't. We really, really don't. Which is imperative that we do not lose sight of the fact that our soldiers on the ground depends on our actions, on our sacrifices, on us being willing to endure, working double shifts, going to jail as the CIC has done, militating for our people day and night. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Look, La République du Cameroun is on its last legs. They are being propped up by finances, loans, by individual countries. A country that has become so devalued, so broken, that these guys are taking loans like little bayam-selams on the streets in Ambazonia. That is how far the Ambazonian people, our liberation struggle, has broken them. You see, the Europeans through the French and the Norwegians, they gave the La République du Cameroun 93 million euros. Think about that for a second. Think about that. A country is taking a loan like a little bayam-selam. 93 million here, 25 million there. That is how they have fallen. And you can see that they have lost all leverage. They have lost all the securities that even simple companies on Jangi houses have. They have lost all of that they cannot even sit, or institutions cannot even sit and say, we can give them loans, this billion, even at what interest rates. It is now individuals that might go in and say that, oh, we'll put 10 million here for the Cameroon government to be propped up. We'll put 25 million here. We'll put. That is how they are doing. And do you know how this has devolved? This has devolved into La République du Cameroun now creating their own tax. Do you know that La République du Cameroun now have their own iteration of our liberation tax? Do you know that? I have defined what they are doing as the genocide tax. The genocide tax. Because what they are doing is they are trying to raise money to continue this their journey to nowhere in Ambazonia by hoodwinking their own citizens. Imagine that. La République du Cameroun has launched a 1,000-man recruitment genocides to send into Ambazonia. They have launched that program. 1,000 additional genocides to send into Ambazonia. And each of those 1,000 as their entry fee, as their genocide fee, each of them are charged 23,000 La République du Cameroun CFA francs. Each of them. Each of that 1,000. So imagine that 10,000 of their citizens decide to apply to be one of that 1,000 genocides. Each of them paying 23,000 CFA francs. They have the personnel, and then they use that money and they send them into Ambazonia to maroot, to kill, to burn. And then they don't pay them. So these are the people that turn into highway robbers in Ambazonia. These are the people that enter places like Pinin, kill the people, extort and loot the land. Because they have paid their 23,000 CFA, they need to go into Ambazonia and recuperate that. They make kale-kales on the roads. They turn into armed robbers in genocide, in terrorist uniforms of La République du Cameroun. Terrorize our people, even extort even our grandmothers and mothers coming from the farm with baskets of cocoyams in their head. These are the sick people on our streets that even take those cocoyams from them. They will enter, burn down houses and catch the chickens that our grandmothers, our mothers, our brothers and sisters have running in their compound. You see these terrorists in their uniform with guns running and cornering chickens and goats and pigs and carrying them away. That is how they eat. That is how they survive. Or for paying 23,000 to become one of the genocides to be sent into Ambazonia. And that is not limited there. Because they are running this scam in all of their institutions. Raking in thousands. As governments like Norway, the French, and the European Union prop them up with granite money. If you had not, my fellow Ambazonians, realized how near to victory we are, these are the signs of a crumbling nation. These are the signs of a nation that is ready for us to break their backbone. The bone has already been broken. It is being propped up using sellotape and rubber gum. That is why it is critical for us to be clear-eyed about the enemy we faced. This recruitment going on in La République du Cameroun for 1,000 genocidaires to go into Ambazonia to replace that we have wiped out tells you what our forces on the ground are facing. What is our response to that? What is the Ambazonian response to this 1,000 recruitment of genocidaires to send into Ambazonia? At the end of this month, at our global fundraisers, that must be the response of Ambazonians that come out and decide that they are recruiting 1,000 to send. This is how we are going to back our forces, waiting for them, for those boots, those terrorist boots to touch the ground of Ambazonia. So each of us must galvanize. Those who haven't paid their liberation tax, do it now. If you can pay additional for additional years, do it. If you can pay for your wives and children, do it. If you can galvanize the cousins, the uncles by interaction, do it. Our response must be as strong as their recruitment of genocidaires. We will not be able to be free or live without genocide if we don't create the space for an independent and free Ambazonia. We will keep seeing the Pinyin massacres. We will keep seeing the Bali massacres. We will keep seeing Ambazonians, their properties looted and scattered around the streets in La République du Cameroun, and their dead bodies littering their streets and forests. We will keep seeing the burnings of villages like the one that just happened in Dongamanto. My fellow Ambazonians, we are the ones we have been waiting for. You are not alone, because all of us said as if the issue depended on me alone. And it always starts with one. That is why, my fellow Ambazonians, that is why we said as if it depended on me alone, because one person can move mountain. One person. Because if one starts, the room will follow as others look at it. As that room follows, you see the house look at that room and starts. Once that house do it, the quarter looks at that house and the quarter comes in. From that quarter, it goes to a village. From the village, it goes to a town, a city, and suddenly the whole of the country is reacting because of the actions of one man in a room somewhere. That must be our attitude as we face down this crumbling horse making its last kicks. Comrades, the defense of our land, the liberation of Ambazonia is going on. I want to use this opportunity to pay homage to our gallant fighters defenders of our homeland. We stand at a defining moment in our struggle for liberation. As I just recounted, the past weeks have once again demonstrated the resilience, bravery, and unwavering commitment of our forces in the face of a genocidal enemy determined to erase our existence. But my fellow Ambazonians, I am not only here to assure you, but I'm here to tell you that they will fail. And why is that? They will fail because we are winning. We are winning. Our winning strategy depends on strength and strategy. That is why we are winning. Sacrifice, strength, strategy. Across the Atlantic and the Savannah regions, our forces have struck hard and held firm in other places. And this has ensured that our land remains ungovernable for the enemy, because we still remain true to our three pillars of the revolution, which was increase the cost of occupation, internationalization, targeted diplomacy. Those pillars still stand firm, and the playbook of the block-by-block strategy is still in place. In the Atlantic region, in our military districts in Moyoka, Fako, the Ambazonian Liberation Forces confronted the occupation forces along the Owe Road. We disrupted their attempts to use the fake road construction as a military cover. Though the casualties remain unconfirmed, we can be assured of one thing: La République du Cameroun has very little influence when our forces deploy into Fako. Last Monday, another contingent of our forces deployed into Fako, while the others deployed in Moyoka. Their deployment was a strategy to ensure that the revolutionary laws, our revolutionary laws, are upheld. I can assure you that the enemy, paralyzed by fear, failed to mount any resistance and instead resorted to hiding as our forces walk around the Fako region and redeployed back out to their bases. This, for me, assured me that anytime that we need to project strength in Fako, we can be able to deploy forces into Fako that will achieve that goal. In the Savannah region, our forces in Bafut inflicted heavy casualties on the enemy. I want to use this opportunity to honor the two comrades of our liberation forces who sustained injuries that initially were life-threatening, but so far has been stabilized and they are well on their way to recovery. In the Bamenda and Kwen region, our forces deployed units against occupation forces that forced them into retreat. And despite attempts to hide the true numbers of their casualties, we were able to dismantle a few of their checkpoints that went up around the streets in Bamenda. Our forces along the Mai4 to Bambui Road also deployed to disrupt their checkpoints. In Abui military district in Donga Mantung, Commander Black led a successful ambush in Du. Initially, reports that reached my desk indicated that 6 of their fighters were killed as our forces mounted both a simultaneous IED and assault rifle together with RPG assault on their barracks. And it was later confirmed to me that 8 of their forces were confirmed dead, though we are very sure that the numbers are much higher than the 8 confirmed dead. And if you do not believe me, they are going on the rampage to burn down villages in Donga Mantung, reflected the level of the defeat and humiliation that they suffered and the number of casualties that they could not believe. All our fighters returned to base safely. We had subsequent engagements in Both and Com, resulting in further enemy casualties. And these, I can assure you, prove the operational superiority of our forces in the Bui military district around the Donga axis. In Uku, our forces conducted highway operations, eliminating enemy checkpoints and preventing enemy reinforcements to move freely into Bui and Donga, especially with the operations that were undergoing in those areas. Because in Bui, Brigadier General Riwan's operation resulted also in catastrophic losses for the genocidal forces. During the past month, Jakiri has remained contested, but I am glad to inform you that our forces there have done very well in restricting enemy movement and the movement of their enabler DOs and irregular forces. These battlefield defeats in our Fako Meme axis, in the Meza military district axis, and the Bafut, the Donga and Bui military district has led Cameroun into doing what they know how to do best, taking out their frustration and humiliation on our innocent and unarmed people. My fellow Ambazonians, they have turned their rage against our civilian population. We have witnessed this in La République du Cameroun itself, in Penin, in Bali, and I can report to you the abduction. They abducted 50 young men in Kokaka, Korome Konye, that is the Manfe Road in Kumba. It has left a lot of the families of our citizens in despair. It has put them in despair. 50 young men. The killings of our civilians in Mamben, Pinyin, where our citizens were massacred. My fellow Ambazonians, these atrocities are not going to go unanswered. Let me repeat, these atrocities are not going to go unanswered. It does not matter how many of our leaders, people like the Norwegians, take out of the field from protecting our people. These atrocities are not going to go unanswered in the present or in the future. We will hunt all those who have enabled genocide in Ambazonia. We will follow them to the gates of hell in order to make sure that they answer for these atrocities. As La République du Cameroun recruit 1,000 genocidaires, what they are doing, notice very clearly their strategy. Every Ambazonian of military age, young man, is being massacred. Those that see themselves in jail are lucky. These people pass on the street as they see you, whether you are in the age from 13 to 13 plus or 10 plus, with a bill as if you can hold a gun, they just gun you down. They feel that that is the way to kill the Ambazonian resistance, to deprive our forces of recruit, to make sure that Ambazonians do not turn up when their patriotism is triggered, do not march into the boundary of their quarter or neighborhoods and stand there to defend their land. Their strategy is to massacre our young men in cold blood. My fellow Ambazonian, this will not go unanswered. And if there is anybody, whether you live in Norway or anywhere in the world, that becomes intimidated because they pick up somebody like the CIC who stand against these massacres, then my fellow Ambazonian, you are a coward. You are not worth the life that God has given to you, because it has no meaning if you can allow yourself to be intimidated, to stand on the sideline and watch things like this happen. Not on our watch. The Ambazonian people are not going to be one of those who stand in the annals of history like the Armenians, like others, and say never again. Our never again is happening now, and we are saying never again in real time. In real time, we are saying never again. And we will persist. So, to every Ambazonian out there, the time is now. When they come for you, go for our people. Stand for our people. Dip your hand into your pocket, shout, and say that this is our never again. It is right now. It is not going to be a future when we look back and say that it will not happen again. I just want to assure you, assure you that the state of our revolution is strong. Even as La République du Cameroun massacre our village, Their propaganda network spreads misinformation about saying that we attack Mboro cattle headers, which we know is a blatant lie to divert attention from this genocide against our people La Republic is carrying out. We know that they have created militias within Ambazonia that go around killing people, trying as much as possible to identify the houses that they will enter our villages and burn. We know that they have bought cattle and create cattle herders who have gone through their military schools, and they are now parading, moving from village to village as cattle herders. We will take all of these out. No blinking. Anybody connected to the genocide of Ambazonia, whether you wear a uniform or you are in civilian clothes and sponsored by that genocidal regime, we will take you out. We will protect our people. We will protect our people. So, my call to action to you is that as we prepare for our global fundraising event, don't forget, prepare and let's stand with one voice. All the missions, all the Ambazonian people in the diaspora, it is time to stand up as these people intend to send another 1,000 genocides into Ambazonians. So we must intensify the support for our fighters. We must remain vigilant and expose enemy propaganda. We must mobilize the international community in condemnation of these massacres and crimes against the Ambazonian people. We must secure our homeland. No Ambazonian is safe without a free and independent nation. The blood of our fallen, the sacrifices of our fighters, and the suffering of our people must never, never, ever be in vain. We will fight. We will resist. And my fellow Ambazonians, we will win. Every Ambazonian must ask themselves a simple question. What will I sacrifice to ensure our victory? The clarion call has been sounded. It is time to rise as one people, one nation, and one force of liberation. Let the enemy know, wherever they are found, in La Republique, in Ambazonia, in the diaspora, let them know Ambazonia shall be free. And there is nothing they can do, nothing on God's good earth they can do to stop it. For a free and independent Ambazonia, my fellow Ambazonians, victory is ours. Thank you. May God bless you. And may God bless our forces.
Glory, we the Ambazonians, pledge our loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who brought the lonely gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty